are recording. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of WPMS. I, of course, am your host, Brittany. And this is my partner in crime, Miss Jaylee. You will see a third person on your screen as soon as she says something, and that is Miss Hayley Shadows. Miss Hayley, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Thanks for being our very first guest on WPMS. I have to ask, how does it feel?
It's dope. It's a privilege, you know. I know Jaylee and I wanted to do this for a little bit, so I'm stoked that I get to be a part of it.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. So we talk about a little bit of everything here. We are on the Hami Media Network. So WPMS, of course, Hayley, I have to let you know, it stands for Women, Pile Drivers, Men, and Sex. So literally nothing is off limits here. We are not censored by any stretch of the imagination. If you want to cuss, you can cuss, but we have to bleep it out if we're going to be on YouTube, but it's okay. So kids, go to bed, because we'll probably talk about things you don't need to hear.
Most likely.
All right, so Hayley, tell us a little bit about your career in wrestling, entertainment.
Man, I've been wrestling a little over 8 years. I trained at OVW under Nick Dunsmore. I got to travel and wrestle in 2 different countries in like 20 different states, maybe a little more than that. And I've got to be on WWE a couple times. So I feel like for as long as I've been wrestling, I haven't done too bad. So pretty proud of it.
And how long have you been wrestling again? Did I miss that?
A little over 8 years.
Oh yeah. See, like ADD, you know, there's times that I just sit there. We can edit that part out. Everybody's gonna know that I don't pay attention when the guest actually talks. It's okay.
You're good. Me neither.
A little bit rude. It's okay. So what has been your favorite country? So you said 2 different countries. Which country?
Well, the States and then Canada.
In Canada?
Yeah.
And which one was better?
Oh boy, man, I don't know. Canada's just different, you know, because like you can hear the accents when they chant and stuff like that. They're just like, I've got to wrestle a few times in Canada, like 5 or 6 times in like different cities, and like every single time I wrestle, no matter what city or show it's for, they remind me of like an ECW crowd. They're just very loud and into it, and like throwing stuff in the ring, and like they make signs and all this stuff that I feel like indie shows kind of lost touch with some of them. So it's nice going to Canada. It just sucks going there in the winter.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
I was watching, I can't remember what I was watching, but it was an old WWF the other day, and the crowd was insane, and it's so intense. Like, we don't get that these days at all. Like, they did like nothing. Not even, I think it was like a freaking like hip toss or like a headlock takeover, and like the crowd like on their feet over it. Like you have to like do 10 moonsaults, 5 power bombs to even get
for
that.
real.
It's insane.
Yeah, I was watching God, what match was it? It was like Ivory when she was part of Right to Censor, and she was wrestling China. They did like a tag match, so like Val Venus was in it and Eddie Guerrero, and I swear like when Eddie tagged in China, all she did was give a clothesline to Val Venus. You would have thought that she just like body slammed Andre the Giant for real. I was like, man, like that reaction was insane.
I know. I wish we like had that right now, like in wrestling. Like the crowd's just like, I don't know. They all think they're wrestlers or something. Like it's just insane, like how they act. So
overanalyze everything. Do you think it's more just because wrestling has been played out? Do you think it's more that the roster isn't taking time to build character and they're too focused, so nobody cares, so you have to have like character development and people aren't focusing? Where do you think wrestling's been falling apart and we're not getting that crowd anymore?
I personally think like when wrestling like really started blowing up with like Hulk Hogan and like Andre and stuff like that, it was all based on characters, I think. And like it really gave like people like real life superheroes to watch and stuff. And then like over time, like I feel like there's still characters and stuff, but I think now it's just more so, okay, they're gonna beat each other up, you know, like it's not someone to like believe in necessarily. Which I mean, like I like all wrestling, but just like watching it from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s till now, it's like
so
all
different.
All you see is characters back then. Like right now, I'm like watching back the first like Raws and stuff that ever took place in like '93, and there's not like one person on any card on any episode that's not like a character. Like they have like the Repo Man and like Macho Man and, you know, just stuff like that. Like right now I'm on an episode where like Repo Man and Macho Man are like in a story, and Repo just keeps stealing his hats. And like he keeps cutting these promos outside of like Madison Square Garden and like stuff like that, like in the snow, just laughing like, oh, I got your hat, you know? And it's like, we don't see stuff like that anymore. It's always about fighting, not like little things like that.
Yeah.
I feel like we were all trained alike. Obviously we all come from OVW, so we are all trained more of like old school kind of mentality, I believe. Like I was under Rip, and I still try to train with him as much as possible, and he's definitely old school. Like your facials and your character means more than any move that you're gonna do. Like we used to train with him, like the, you know, illusion of like taking a bump or like giving moves and stuff like that. Like it's just it's all about like footwork and stuff like that, and like that's what I really like. I love like character wrestling. Obviously we've all wrestled each other and we're all characters, so I feel like that helps so much in a match and getting engaged in a crowd. And I feel like a lot of times that's why the engagement isn't there anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
I do feel as women in wrestling, it used to be bra panties match, lingerie match, pillow fights match, things of that nature. So we were focused more on sexualizing the women instead of making them athletes. And I think that is a positive turn that we have come around to, is women are actually being put out as an athlete, and we can work as hard as the men, and we can do the same moves and power moves and things of that nature. Do you think women are losing their characters too and being too focused on moves now because of that, and being so afraid of being sexualized? Because let's face it, as women, that's probably the biggest setback that we hit in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, like I definitely think the women now, I mean, even for me, like as big as like character work is for me, there's always those times where it's like when you're only like the only girl match on the card and stuff like that, especially on like a higher thing like WWE and AEW and stuff, I feel like you're so focused on just having a good match, regardless of like if the crowd believes that like, you know, you're like this diva or some killer or like a monster or something, you know, they're like, okay, well, these girls can fight, you know? And I think too, like in the 90s, I don't know, like I was really like a huge fan of like Luna. Sorry, they're having a wrestling match right now. No, but I was like a huge fan of like Luna and like China, and like just these women that like really characterized like, I don't even want to say it was like really like a character for them. I feel like it was really who they were, but like you knew when they were on the screen, you were like, okay, yeah, like they're definitely like not like the average person, as opposed to like other girls that were on there that I don't know if they really got like a lot of time to figure their stuff out, but like they kind of just blended in, you know?
Right. I feel like a lot of times, they're like girls these days have characters. They have a lot of it. They just don't show it in the ring. They're just more showing the character outside of the ring. If that makes any sense. So. Yeah, I agree. I feel like I see more character work in an entrance rather than like in the actual match, which is like, it's absolutely crazy to me for real, because like I was watching, I can't think of his name right now, and I'm probably going to get so much heat when certain people watch this, but he wrestled in like the 90s for Raw and stuff, and he came out with like this weird gear, like there was like teeth coming out of it. I can't think of his name. He like had his head shaved weird and his facial hair was weird, but like I was watching how he sold and stuff in the ring, and it was like it matched perfectly with the character that he like portrayed when he came out and stuff. And like he was wrestling the Undertaker and like putting the Undertaker over. It was crazy. Everything the Undertaker did, it like morphed into like his actual character, which is really cool to see, because I don't see a whole lot of that anymore.
Right.
No, not at all.
I think one of the things that was pretty great and that came out of this pandemic, because we couldn't have full houses in arenas, was when NXT took the reins and did Wrestle House.
Yeah.
And I believe that led female characters and male characters to kind of show themselves in a different light, because majority of it was character development. You saw the interaction of them in a house as a reality show, and then it created a match. And they weren't so much worried about moves because there was nobody there. So they were kind of wrestling for each other as opposed to wrestling for an audience. So you weren't wrestling for a reaction, you were wrestling as your character. And I kind of hope that helps develop them, that they let that bleed over when fans are allowed back into the arena. I think AEW is probably the one that has developed most as far as having characters as it was in the 90s. I think AEW is doing a really good job with that.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Like, even the commercials that they show, like, get you in tune. Like my shoot job, I'm a server, and like we'll have like AEW and like just other sports playing and stuff, and like the commercial will come on for AEW, and you just see like a shift in the room. Like, everyone's like, "Oh, what's this?"
Right. Yeah,
so
exactly.
I enjoy watching it, for real.
Did anybody watch the AEW pay-per-view? Speaking of AEW.
No.
I watched a little bit of it. I watched more of like the dark matches just because I don't have. I just stream at home, so we actually watched it with Shiloh and his girlfriend. But because like we're friends with like Brian Hillman, so we train with him a little bit at OVW. So we wanted to really watch it for him because he's on there. But I didn't get to see too much of it. So
yeah, I saw the brutal fall that Matt Hardy took. I know it was. Yeah.
I saw the what was it, the botch that happened with Evan Bourne or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Not Seidel.
Yeah, like that stuff like made me mad though, because there was like fans on Twitter like making fun of him and stuff, and I was like, he literally could have broke his neck.
He could have. Right.
And it's, I don't know, that stuff like frustrates me, because it's like certain things are funny, but like when someone literally could have died in front of you, like that's not funny.
Yeah, when he slipped off the top rope, and I was watching it with several other wrestlers as well, and my husband, Dr. B, was sitting there saying, like, why didn't anybody that was in the ring take the time to even wipe the rope? Because whenever we would do battle royals and things of that nature, if you knew that somebody was coming in doing a high spot, you made sure that rope was wiped off. You went over there with your hand and at least tried to wipe some of the sweat off, because people have been out there for 15, 20 minutes sweating and falling all over the rope. The rope is slick, and you hit the wrong way like he did, and that's it. You're down. And he covered himself pretty well.
Yeah, like, and I think too now with like COVID and everything, they're like spraying down the ropes and stuff, because I know Jaylee and I, when we did a show in Alabama, we were watching, and there was a guy that was spraying the ropes, and I told her, I was like, hey, be careful if you hit the ropes, you know, just because it's like, whether they like spray them or not, like I've literally seen people like hit the ropes and like fall in between, just because it's like the ropes are loose, or like someone doesn't wipe them down or whatever. And it's scary too, like just, I guess just being a fan in wrestling for, I guess, as long as I have or whatever, it's like scary to see that like people can do like these 450s out of the ring through tables and be fine, but like you hit the ropes to like hit a clothesline and like you can like break your neck or something, you know?
Yeah. Dr. B went through a table. He had been out for quite a while. He hadn't wrestled. He was commentating, and he took a simple back bump through a table, and instead of pulling his hands in, he put his hands out, and he ended up breaking his finger in 2 different places, needing stitches throughout his finger. His hand still messed up. He needed surgery and everything, and it's just like simple back. This is the easiest table move in the match, and he had a broken finger from it.
That's wild.
One wrong hit, and the table didn't give. So we'll circle back a little bit. You said that you've wrestled in Canada and in the United States. So let's take it backstage. So what kind of craziness have you had to put up with as a worker, but specifically as a female worker?
Man, I mean, especially now with everyone talking about it, the whole, you know, sexism thing, and guys just assuming that they can place themselves where they like shouldn't be and have an opinion when they shouldn't. Stuff like that. Luckily, like it's died down a lot for me, but man, like I remember like first starting, not at OVW, people were like super respectful as far as like the workers went and stuff, but like moving onto the indies and stuff, like it was crazy. Like I remember like Maria, like amazing Maria, like warning me. She was like, hey, because I was still really young, like I was like 20, 21, traveling to like from Kentucky to Chicago by myself sometimes. And she's like, hey, like,
Mhm.
just be careful, stuff like that. And like some of the locker rooms, I've literally had wrestling buddies like kick out referees and stuff because they're trying to watch you change. They're trying to be like creepy. And like I had one guy in Kentucky, I was only, I think like 21 at most. And I left my cell phone in my bag. And at the time I didn't have a password on it. And this guy literally, like I saw him going through my phone and like looking for pictures. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, sorry, I thought that was my phone. I was like, yeah, because you have like a purple zebra print case on your phone. Right, you know, and they ended up like kicking him out completely of the locker room. Like I haven't seen him since, luckily, but like that's probably the craziest. Like sometimes there's, you know, like egos and stuff like that, but I kind of just try to steer away from that. And if I have to, I'll put in my headphones because that's just too much. But yeah, mostly it's just been the whole guy situation.
Yeah, when we were in Alabama a couple weeks ago, Hayley and I, who was that guy? That sound guy or whatever that was grossing me out, that was like, just hold my hand. That kept up and down. He was like, I was like, ew, like, what the hell? He literally, like, we were in Alabama, okay? There was, like, no teeth. Like, you should have saw the lady we ran into in the freaking gas station. Like,
yeah, she was part of a horror movie.
I'm not trying to like, diss them or anything like that, but this guy literally was so disgusting, and he was so nasty towards me. Like, just like looking me up and down. I had like grabbed Hayley. I was like, just hold my hand just to make him stop, please.
Yeah, I was like zoned out completely, and then I just see her face. I'm like, what's up? And I looked over her shoulder and I was like, oh, what is going on? So I just played the homie and was like, hey, come here, like, you know,
help me.
Yeah, and it like it's funny, you know, but at the same time it like sucks that we have to do that, you know, like
exactly. No, it really is.
Like it's crazy. Like I get into it a lot with men when it comes to stuff like that because like it sucks. Like they don't understand. Like I'm like, even like aside from being a wrestler, I'm like, you have the luxury of being able to like walk downtown at like midnight by yourself and like you don't have to worry about anything, you know what I mean? And it's like I've been around like some of my wrestling buddies that are like guys and stuff, and like they never really fully grasped it until like we would go out and like I would have like short shorts on or like a tank top and like I'd be catcalled and stuff like that, and they're like, whoa, like it's really a thing. I'm like, yeah, like it must be nice to not even be aware of like how bad it is.
Right I gonna edit this part because I lost my train of thought.
We do that a lot.
Yeah, this is we're like, I have a train, then I start thinking, and then I'm like, that train just stopped. So
I feel that.
Walter is eating a wallet right now and looking me directly into the face because he knows I cannot get up and beat his
Well, if you want to go get him, we're editing this out.
Yes.
Yo,
hold on.
I for real keep fighting with my dog right now. Like I'm not even kidding. He's eating my blinds right now.
Yeah,
like he ripped one off and he's sitting on the edge of my bed eating it. I'm not even playing.
What's his name?
Benji.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 3 dogs, but he's my puppy and he definitely acts like it. He brings out the puppy and the other 2. And I can't stand it.
Yeah, we're fostering, so
okay.
A dog that
and we're back.
He was pretty well behaved.
Look how
I love him.
He's adorable.
Have him today. He's been so bad. I'm over it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he literally just chewed up a wallet, staring at me doing it, and there's like money and stuff in here. So yeah, thank you so much, asshole.
Look at this one. He for real like ripped my blind. You see that while I'm on the phone?
No.
Yeah.
He's
he's an asshole.
Yeah, they are.
All right. So circling back, let's give him a point to bring it back. So yeah, being catcalled whenever you're a female. I went to Cox's Liquor Outlet today. We're not sponsored by them, but there's a plug. I went to pick up some boxes, and I have athletic shorts on, and I usually don't go out in athletic shorts or any kind of shorts for the simple fact of I'm trying to avoid being catcalled. And also I have a rather large rear end that doesn't allow shorts to cover all the time. So that's beside the point. Anyway, I got boxes for moving liquor out and everything. And this guy comes out and he was like purposely kind of staying behind me, and he wasn't being rude. So I can't like take this too into I regret it or that I'm angry with him, but he offered to like wax my car and like strip off the oxidation on the hood of the car. And I was like, hey, that's pretty cool, because I've actually been looking for somebody to do that. How much would you charge? He goes, oh, for you, I would do it for free. And I'm just like, this is the part where I'm really glad I have a mask on, and I'm just going to be like, thanks.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, at least I can use it to my advantage, but
right. I mean, recently, like, thank God for masks, because I have resting bitch face, and like my face says it all. So if I have something I want to like say to you, it's like I seriously just like my facials, like. But I've also noticed I smile at people, and I'm like, what are you doing, dumbass? They cannot see you smiling. Like,
I'm telling you, like, once all this stuff ends and we don't like have masks anymore, like everyone's faces are gonna be so jacked up. Like, why are you not smiling at me right now? Like, why are you doing that?
You're just gonna walk past
like what was that face for? Be like, oh yeah, it's out loud again. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not against, the masks or anything like that. Some of it, I feel some people are blowing it way out of proportion of being against it and hashtag my freedom and things of that nature. Sure, whatever. We were in Indiana last Sunday, and we were at Huber's Winery, and
oh, I love it. I went there and saw the sunflowers.
yes, but no, people weren't wearing masks, and that's cool. You don't have to wear a mask because you're outside, but stay away from me, please. One, I don't want you near me anyway. Two, there is a pandemic. I need you to leave.
Indiana is way more lax than Kentucky right now. Way
more. Oh, yeah.
Definitely tell.
Like, I mean, our bars are closing at 10. Like, you have to wear a mask everywhere you go. Some places aren't, though, I will say.
They're a little,
but,
yeah.
You
can wear it underneath your nose and nobody says anything.
It makes me so angry. I'm like, you shouldn't even be wearing a mask then. Like, what's the point?
Nobody cares. If you're going to do that, just don't wear it anyway. But yeah, I definitely use it, but I find, because we tried to take a picture and I found myself like smiling underneath the mask with the camera in front of me, and I'm going, oh yeah, I don't have to show my crow's feet. I can hide that. Nobody's gonna know.
I feel that.
I know. It's insane. I'm just ready for it to be over. I'm ready to like be able to just be normal or somewhat normal again. Like wrestling, like obviously I've got to here and there, but it's like stops. Like I had, and I'm sure you did too. And you as well with stuff. We had so much momentum going. Like I was so booked and so like getting a rhythm, and like it was amazing. And then all of a sudden it's like nothing. And like nobody's hardly running shows, and if they are, they have no clue about it. They're only trying to take locals. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yes, I was working for conventions with just being an assistant to like actors and things of that nature backstage, and I was getting some momentum behind that. Side note, that makes pretty good money. And I had no idea that you can make pretty good money on just being the assistant to the actor. I'm like, I'm okay with this.
You know what else you can make pretty good money on? Selling feet pictures.
Right. Yes.
True.
Or Patreon pages. We can go on to that topic too. That is something that I want to get your opinion on, Jaylee and Hayley both. Patreon pages. So women are all about not being sexualized and all about don't say anything sexual to me, don't catcall me, don't say this, don't say that, but then they're putting pictures of themselves on their bra and underwear and sexual positions and things of that nature. Girl, first of all, let me just say this. I am not slut shaming by any stretch of the imagination. For money, how you want to get your money, and if you look good, do you.
Right.
But then you want to hate on somebody for saying something sexual to you. Thoughts?
Like me personally, I would never have one, just because it's more so like a confidence thing. And aside from that, I'm petrified if my grandparents ever found out.
Right. My mom would kill me.
Yeah, that's like a huge thing. But no, like I have a lot of friends that have them, and I mean, like honestly, all the power to them. Like if they're like confident, like I wish I had that, I think, I don't know, like it's kind of like a weird subject, because I feel like it's one of those things where it's like we want to feel sexy, but we also don't want to feel like disgusting and like uncomfortable. And I think too, like there, like, man, there's a lot of different women that like have those now, like wrestling wise, like girls that naturally just wear bikinis all the time, and then there's other girls that like wear like, you know, like full suits when they wrestle. So like it's really cool to like see that girls are like getting more comfortable in their skin into the public like that. But I think at the same time it's just like, hey, I'm doing this for me, or like for, you know, like me to make money, but like at the same time, like don't be a weirdo. And I think like I've had like similar conversations with like some of my guy friends, and like in ways it's kind of like frustrating because it's like the guy that like followed you or whatever by the liquor store. Like I think I take like extra offense to stuff like that because like me being gay, for instance, like when I was like in high school and like I was in gym class and stuff, like I shared a locker room. Hell, I share like a locker room with women now, but I'm not sitting there being creepy. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that's on my mind. So I feel like even in public, if I see a girl that I think is pretty, I'm not going out of my way to make them uncomfortable. And I feel like that's such a thing now where like men especially have gotten so comfortable with making people uncomfortable that like women have like gotten so much stronger, and like they're just like, dude, I'm over it. Like I'm gonna call you out, and like if you're uncomfortable with making me uncomfortable, then like piss off, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And
I definitely agree with that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. We always do this. I agree. I would never do one, only because like I feel like my body is for the bedroom, you know, and your spouse. So like I'll show like bikini stuff, but I mean I'll wear bikini to the beach, so it's nothing to me. But I feel like more power to the girls that do it. Like you gotta make money, get a girl. But I agree, like, because I don't mind being hit on. Like that doesn't piss me off or disgust me. But when you're like messaging me, tell me to sell my dirty underwear to you, or saying like you wish you were my underwear, that is the nasty shit that I'm not okay with. And it's not okay for you to say that, period. Right. Like even if Randy said that to me, I would smack him, you know, and like he's my boyfriend, and like so I just don't agree with that part. But that's just in general, like don't be a creep. Like I think go ahead. I was like, learn how to be human.
No, I think that's where a lot of guys don't understand where females are coming from. It's that, you know, it was fine that the guy offered to do my car for free. It was fine that, you know, whatever reason it was that he offered to do it, whether it was just he wanted to work on my car because he thought it was a cool car, or he was like, hey, maybe I can take her out. Because I had taken off my wedding ring to do kickboxing, so I guess I was single. Guys don't really pay attention to that anyway. But I think what men don't realize is that it's okay to say, hey, you're attractive. Hey, you know, hey, could I buy you a drink? Hey, can this? Hey, can that? But it's different whenever you're going, hey, baby, I want some fries with that shake.
It's so disgusting.
Or some other, like, and then of course you have your extreme where somebody is trying to stalk you and waits in your house to kidnap you and plans your, you know, abduction. So I think men don't realize, okay, so if we're putting out, you know, our pictures of ourselves in bras and underwear, of course, you already feel confident in yourself because you're putting it out online. Two, with it taking that much confidence, giving compliments is just going to fuel your confidence, and it's going to push you to feel better about yourself. And I think humans in general just want that affirmation.
Yeah, you want that validation for sure.
Right, to being told that you look good. But there comes a time when it's like, okay, that's really weird, and you need to stop. Unfortunately, I do think a lot of women sometimes use this to their advantage. Hayley, what do you think about this? Because I feel like sometimes women draw lines versus if they find that person attractive or if they don't find that person attractive. And I think sometimes that's not exactly fair. So an attractive guy can say one thing and an unattractive guy can say the exact same thing, and the woman's going to flip out on the unattractive guy because how dare he think she should get him or he could get her.
I mean, I feel like that definitely happens for sure. And I mean, like it shouldn't. Like I feel like you should, depending on how the situation's going, I feel like you should definitely be able to tell someone you're interested or not interested in the same fashion, regardless of what they look like. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like at the same time too, like I guess just from like stuff that's like happened to me, like regardless of like what someone looked like, I've had people respectfully like hit on me, and like women and men, and like me being like, no, I'm not interested, and they'd be like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, but then I've had like other ones that like just won't stop. Like they take it as more of like an invitation. Like you would not believe like how many like men have hit on me, and like I've been like no, and they're like, oh, you're just playing hard to get, and like fed off of that.
Yeah.
And like there's a guy right now on Facebook, I like put him on blast a couple weeks ago because he messaged me, and he's like, he lives like an hour from me, and he was being so like disgusting, and I called him out. Well, I like put him on blast on Facebook, got him fired from like his shoot job and like all this stuff, like because like it wasn't him just hitting on me, you know, like it was him being like disgusting, and like me being a mom to a daughter, I'm like, I don't want her like growing up in a world like this. Like if I have to make some guy so angry because I called him out and made him lose his job for being a pig, then like maybe I just like saved my daughter from like having one less like interaction like that.
Right.
So I don't know, like it's definitely a hit or miss, but like I feel like regardless of like what sex you are or like what you look like, I think it definitely just depends on how you approach someone and how you take being denied, you know? Because I mean, I don't know if it's ever been a thing or if it was a thing and it just died, but I feel like respect is like not a thing anymore.
Right.
No.
People are comfortable hiding behind a screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. I just look at like little old men and how cute they are. Like I've had like an old man, like they're so cute. I'm sorry.
Right.
And like old man that's in his like 70s or 80s that will like can barely stand up will give me his chair.
Yeah.
And offer me a seat before him. And I'm like, no, like you're the one that, you know, needs to sit down. Like, trust me, like I'm fine, I can stand. Like, but like nobody would ever do that. Like I will see men, like even in like in the locker room, like a man will not stand up to shake my hand. Like if I travel anywhere with my boyfriend and his tag team partner, they will stand up and shake their hands and not even shake mine like I'm nobody. I'm like, hey, I'm here too, I'm a wrestler as well. Like that's just rude. Yeah. So yeah, there's no respect. I don't know. I feel like it's just because social media is out there and everybody's business is out there. And so people just think they can just kind of do whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think one of the craziest things that's like happened to me wrestling wise like that is like, there was a show in Indiana and I was the women's champion and they had me on the flyer. I was like the center of the flyer because we were like building up this big women's match and stuff. I had my gear on, face paint, everything. This guy comes up to me. He was like, oh, so who are you managing? Dead serious. And I was like, nothing against managers because it's a hard job, but I was like, I had kick pads on. I had like my jacket on, you know, my hair was wet, all this stuff, right? And I was like, I'm a wrestler. Oh, are you? I was like, yeah, that's why I have this belt right now. That's why like I'm on the flyer, like, you know what I mean? And I was like, do I not look like a wrestler? And he was like, no, like I just don't see women wrestlers a lot. And like without even thinking, like I just popped off. I was like, maybe you're just not allowed on shows with women wrestlers, and just like walked off. I was so irritated because it was like, do you know like how bad someone's ego would like get hurt if you just went up to a guy that had tights and stuff on? You're like, oh, who are you managing? What girl are you managing?
Yeah, they'd be so
nuts. It's like, it's wild.
Yeah, we were briefly touched on the previous show, on the first show that we had, that men are starting to kind of be victims of sexual harassment and things of that nature coming on. And there's times where you want to empathize with them. You want to be like, hey, we get it. But then there's times you want to just sit there and look at them like, welcome to our world now. Thank you very much. How are you going to handle this situation? Oh, you're going to pout? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane though. Like we talked about last episode that like Hollywood and like the limelight is so insane. Like just all the shit that's going on in Hollywood right now, and like all the like sexual harassment and like the kids and just
child trafficking. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's wild. I was talking to a girl that I work with she understood. There was a few people that I worked with that was like, no, there's no way. But I feel like this whole situation has been a ticking time bomb. And I feel like in ways we had so many warnings, but like everyone was so immune to, oh, we could go to the movie theater, we can go to the mall, we never took the time to like get out of what our reality was. And like now it's like one thing after another, and I'm like, man, I knew like stuff was gonna unfold eventually, because it's like there were so many different signs and so many rumors and conspiracy theories, I guess, of like stuff happening, but people were like, it's not happening to me, I'm not worried about it.
And now everybody's stuck inside, and there were people, so many people were off work and unemployed. Everybody had time to look into those conspiracy theories because you were bored. So you heard about it, you went down a rabbit hole, and now you realize like, oh, that actually does kind of make a little bit of sense.
Yeah.
And it's a little scary how many things connect together. And we were talking like, if you're looking for something negative, you're going to find something negative. You will always find something that fits your narrative, because that's how you're going to Google search, and that's how you're going to read something. And I think that's where a lot of conspiracy theories kind of lose their momentum, because they stick on one path. And it's like, you have your conspiracy theories. In fact, there's a Conspiracy Horseman podcast on this particular platform. And the man, Ben Hameen, he researches and goes through everything and every possible aspect, that he's one that I'll actually sit there and listen, because you will actually, it makes you think. It makes you sit down and ponder like this. It makes a lot of sense. Like, why did Tom Hanks post something about roadkill on Route 66, and then some guy that was getting ready to expose a child trafficking ring ended up dead on Route 66?
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
Hayley was showing me the Justin Bieber stuff last weekend, and it like crushed me.
It's crazy.
Justin Bieber.
Like months ago, he was posting random pictures of babies, like babies he didn't know. Yeah, and like people were commenting with the pizza thing, and like it's crazy because like I never like deeply looked into the whole Illuminati thing and stuff like that, just because I feel like it is real and it really like spazzes me out.
I was showing her the little snake eyes. We were trading theories last weekend or a couple weekends ago.
And like I tried to not pay too much attention to it, because one, I don't think I could stop an Illuminati as much as I would like to. So I tried to fill my head with like Disney Plus instead of nonsense like that. But like people at work, like I pretty much work with all females, and they're all like, oh man, like look at this. And I'm just like, this is like a real thing. And like one of my friends in Louisville, like her and I talked about this like 7 or 8 years ago, like just everything. And I forgot if it's like a book or a movie or what it is, but it's basically everything that's happening now, but like all these high up celebrities that are like part of this Illuminati. The whole world is like going to war with itself, and everything's burning, and they're just in a rocket ship going to another planet, safe and sound. And I can't get that image out of my head. So I'm like, great. Like, I'm just going to look up and see Bieber and be like, you're not able to do this whole time anyway, bro.
I mean, Tom Hanks already ran away to Greece, so.
You know what I was talking about earlier that I'm really just kind of disgusted with is that last year, everybody was trying to like go and raid Area 51. Yeah. I talk about this all the time. Now, they said aliens are real, and that's not a thing. Like, you were just going to write it last year to see if aliens are real, and then now nobody's worried about aliens.
Why would you be worried about aliens at this point? It's like, beam me up, Scotty, please. Like,
dude,
because
I'm about to tag them in.
I believe in them, and I'm just really mad that everybody was going to raid it last year, and like it was like a Facebook thing, and now like they're like, oh yeah, aliens are real, and you're like, oh.
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy because, like, if you look back on, like, the 90s and, like, the trends that happened with, like, Game Boys and, like, gel pens and stuff like that, that was the trends. And now it's like, you know, we're going to find aliens and then this Illuminati thing. And it's like, can we just, like, settle down on these trends right now? Because, like, I can't keep up. Like, I'm going to have a panic attack over this.
Like, I just started playing Guitar Hero, so I'm way behind on trend things. So I guess in about 2040, I'll catch up to the aliens and invading Area 51. I'll be outside Area 51 going, hey. I'll be like, we already said aliens were real. They're already here. It's fine.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, until you get abducted and probed.
You know, I watch some alien shows, and some of the actors that portray aliens are attractive. So if they look like that,
watch The Fourth Kind. That will change your entire life.
is it going to scare me away from aliens? Because right now I'm
no, like it's one of the only movies I've ever seen that they have like actors and actresses doing the whole movie, but then it'll show like live footage from like the 90s or whenever it happened. And like it show like side by side, it'll show like the actors reenact it, and then like the actual footage. So like it's about aliens and stuff, but it's like based on this woman that had like a son and a daughter, and like she swore the aliens took her daughter, but they thought she like went psycho and killed her. But it literally shows like the cop cam from like the 90s or whatever. Because they're watching the house because they're like, we don't believe her, and you see like this UFO with like a light over her house, and it shoots off, and like her daughter's never been found. The mom's like a basket case now, and she was like, and like it's crazy. Like they had a girl on there that did like the whole hypnotizing thing, and I believe it took place in Alaska because Alaska is known for like the northern lights and like all the craziness there and stuff. And this girl would like hypnotize them, and like it would show like real footage from this doctor doing it, and like these people would like levitate and like in a deep voice would say like I am God, and like would like bend in half and then go back to normal. It was crazy. Like the movie's insane. Like I've seen a lot of like sci-fi, like okay, this is stupid. So like I just watched this, and there's nothing sci-fi about it. Like it's like it gives me chills even like thinking about it. It's wild. I would definitely recommend it though.
You should definitely watch Ghost Adventures too. They do a really You went to the museum though. She got to go to the museum, okay?
Yeah.
I would love to go. And
well, let's go. You keep making fun of me about it. We're gonna argue right here, but
his name's Zach, right?
Zach. Yeah, let's go.
I had an
alien show on their show, and it was fun.
Man, she's gotta go get her dog.
Man. And like nobody's here. Sorry.
It's aliens. Run, Hayley.
Yeah.
We're talking about them.
Anyway, so yeah, we need to go. I want to go to the Home Museum. Brittany got to go. I'm really jealous. I recommended it to her, and she said it was cool. So
it was amazing. A little girl, a ghost held my hand. She's like, yeah, right. Okay. I will say, I'm going to give you this, Hayley. I will say that they do set things up because there are times that you feel the cold breeze and you're like, okay, where's the air conditioning vent? Because I know that that's a little too much right there.
Right.
You know, but there are times where it's like, all right, that was a little bit unexplaining. So,
like I'm not even necessarily against the show. I'm just not a huge fan of Zach. I think he's hella disrespectful, and like I'm Wiccan, and I feel like certain things in like the spirit world you need to leave alone. And like if they wanna tell you or show you something, they will. And this guy is just sitting there in a room. Oh yeah? Am I pissing you off? Show me that I'm making you mad. You like that I kicked this chair over that you died in? I'm like, dude, you deserve to be picked up and thrown downstairs. Like, and I hate it because anytime I see an episode, he was like, oh man, something was hot on the back of my neck. I'm like, I hope they're trying to burn you alive. You disrespectful idiot. Like,
I want to go to Waverly Hills here in Louisville. Like, I've been like through the haunted house, but I want to go like on a ghost tour. So I'm super like no ghosts are real. Like I've experienced it. Like my mom and dad's house is on an Indian burial ground. It's haunted. Swear to God, a lot of crazy crap happened to me and my sisters when we were kids. My mom and dad didn't believe us until recently when we all moved out, and now they're experiencing it. I'm like, you need to leave right now because they're coming to get you. But I'm scared someone's gonna like follow me home.
You know what we need to do? We need to do a live. Whether it's YouTube Live or Facebook Live or whatever, we need to stay the night in Waverly Hills. And I don't even know if they allow that anymore.
So
What?
One of my friends, her great grandma was placed in there when it was still open.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that like her mom and like her grandma would like go visit her and she would like say how horrific it was. And I have like a couple buddies that like they do their own like ghost hunting and ghost tours and stuff. And like I asked them, like I was like, were they like tortured? Like what is it? And they were like, oh yeah, like they were abused, and like it makes me sad. And like I got into it like I got into it with someone on Facebook a few years ago because they more or less were like saying, okay, well the least that like people can do is like make money off of it, which really irritated me because it's like I understand everyone's curious and like that's cool, but it's like for me, I don't know, it's just like a respect thing. And it's like I feel like people go and they're like being completely disrespectful, and like I know from like my friends' experiences, like the whole haunted house thing, they won't even let you pass a certain floor because the last time they had people walking around, someone literally got pushed down the stairs.
Wow.
And it's like, I mean, not to sound like nuts or anything, but like I kind of can understand why. Like if you're tortured the last like 10 years of your life and you're stuck there, I'd be livid too. I'd be pushing everyone down the stairs. I wouldn't care, you know?
Right.
So it's like, I get it.
I think I do think that there is a respect for the dead, so to speak, or the non-living, whatever you, either way you want to call them. So whenever you do run into someplace like Waverly or the Zach Baggins Museum, where it's all of these tortured souls, I don't think provoking them is the right way to get them to communicate with you. Like Hayley, like you said, I think if they're going to communicate, then they're going to communicate. I know when we did the haunting of OVW, nobody did anything. No, everybody was just, it was that look most of the night. If you can't see her look, talk so you can like come up on camera.
Okay, so I just went like this.
There you go.
That's a normal face for you.
Right. So it was the rolling of the eyes and this isn't going to happen, because I feel like I'm one that's kind of like sensitive to that world. And I never felt anything at OVW. And we did the haunting of OVW and we were sitting in the ring. We had ghost hunters and everything like that. They were amazing people, really cool, set up all their equipment. We had a couple of like weird experiences where there was like heat spots that showed up where there shouldn't have been and things of that nature. And then towards the end of the night, we were getting ready to pack everything up. We had this piece of equipment that you had to touch in order for it to sound off and make a noise. Mm-hmm. And it almost made like an electric sound. And we had it sitting all the way over in the far side of the audience. And we were all sitting in the ring. Absolutely nobody else was around. You could see everybody there sitting in the ring. We were all like, this is boring. We're going to bed. We're going to pack up. As we were saying that sensor started just going completely nuts. And we just started, we were like, okay, so who are you? And we started like naming names of different people that had been in OVW that had passed. And occasionally it would get like really loud, or it would just like not do anything. And we were like, oh, this is so cool. This is really great. So we spent about another 20 minutes communicating with that. Then we ended up packing everything up. They took all the cameras down. They went to their little studio to produce and then edit everything. And they had only gotten 15 minutes of footage. We were there for over 4 hours, but 15 minutes in, every camera shut down and stopped recording and picked nothing up. Now we had checked cameras to make sure they were still running, checked cameras to make sure they were on, and that everything was recording the way that they needed to record before we left the floor, because OVW's 2 floors. We had 2 cameras set up on top. We had 2 cameras set below. Made sure the recording lights were on the whole time that we were there. You could see the red dots because we had everything off. Everything was functioning fine. When they went to edit, everything was gone.
Dang. They're like, you're paying me for TV time.
They're like, hey, we didn't get a cut of this. So
I know this is a school, but you're paying me.
Right.
Yeah, for real.
Sorry about that.
No, it's crazy because I think one of my craziest encounters with stuff like that is there's a place in Canada where there was like a bus driver that like wrecked with a bunch of kids years and years ago, and they all like died or whatever. And like on this hill, if you like put baby powder on the like back of your car, and you just like chill on the hill, you feel it rocking and it'll push you up the hill, and you get out and there's like handprints in the baby powder. Like it's absolutely insane. It's crazy.
Nope. There's times that I'm just like, I'm good. I see it enough. I feel it enough. I don't know if I want hard evidence of it actually being a thing.
I'm super into it as long as it's nothing like vicious. Like if I feel like in some aspect I can kind of like help a spirit feel better, then I'm like, okay, cool. Cause like I've kind of like gone through stuff like that. But when it's just like dark energy, I'm like, get that away from me. Because like that's stuff you can't even control at that point, you know?
And it can consume you. When my grandpa passed away, he was on hospice for quite a while, and he was homebound, obviously. And towards the last couple of days that he was alive, towards the last couple of days that he was alive, we went to see him. I remember seeing this figure just standing next to his bed. It wouldn't talk to me because I would try to kind of like telepathically talk to it. I'm going to sound completely crazy, but that's okay because again, there's a conspiracy thing.
No, you're good.
I would try to telepathically communicate with it, like, "Hi, who are you?" And he'd just stare at me, and I'm like, "Dude, you're creeping me out. What's going on?" I was like, "Fine." So I turned to my mom and my grandma, and I kind of explained what the guy looked like, what he was doing. So my grandma went and got a whole bunch of old pictures. She set a whole bunch out, and I said, "It's that guy right there." And she's like, "Oh, that's your grandpa's younger brother, and he's a mute. He doesn't know how to talk." And
that's
I'm
wild,
like, okay. And then I was sitting there again, flipping through one of those home and garden magazines. I came across something. Every time I would pass like a light blue color, this man again would be standing there. He goes, "Tell him I'm wearing this color. Tell them I'm wearing this color." And he'd point to the light blue. And I'm thinking to myself, leave me alone. I don't want to tell them anything. You make me sound crazy. And then I got to like the toilet set where it's like the toilet rug and the thing that goes over the toilet seat and everything. And it was a real pretty light blue color. And he goes, "Tell him I'm wearing that color." And I went, "Oh," and I like threw everything down. And I went, "This stupid old man is standing next to me and he says, tell him I'm wearing this color." And my grandma just stared at me and she said, "What does he look like?" And I'm like, "A short, fat Colonel Sanders." And she's like, "So," and I'm like, "He has a mustache and a goatee and white hair and it's stupid and he's wearing this color." And she goes, "Your grandpa's dad was buried in a light blue suit."
Oh, that's crazy.
And I was like, "I'm done." And I like left the house. I was like, "Whenever you're ready to leave, Mom, just call me and I'll be in the neighborhood somewhere because I can't handle it anymore."
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's my experience with ghosts. And ever since then, I've kind of closed that door because it freaked me out quite a bit.
Oh yeah, that's insane.
There's crazy Brittany.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's always. I wasn't gonna say anything.
Have you not seen me in the ring? Like, it's fine. It's okay.
I love it. Yeah, so you're gonna have to check out Hayley Shadows. We'll wrap up the show because I know Jaylee's got training here soon. So Hayley, where can we find you on social media? Where can we find your matches?
Twitter and Instagram, my name is the same. It's Hayley, HAYLEY _Shadows. Everyone always spells Hayley wrong. And then Facebook, it's just Hayley Shadows. And on Facebook especially, I try to post like at least links or something to like the full match. And then on Instagram and Twitter, I'll just do like pictures or GIFs or little video cuts here and there.
All right.
But that is my social media.
Cool. Easiest place to find me is Instagram. That's my most activity. I am Seriously Brittany. Occasionally you'll find me Seriously Britt D on Twitter. Now here's the real Jaylee. Do you remember yours?
So I've been studying, guys. So I don't really. So on Instagram, I'm JLEAM123. I did it.
Wow.
You did it.
You need to change your name so you can remember it.
I do remember it. I got it down, didn't I?
Yeah, but you had to have a little intro to it, which makes me worried.
I just
last time we had to put question marks
on social media.
I know. I don't. I just try to remember.
She does because she's obsessed with herself. So
that's it. That's
pretty rad.
It's not because I just made something easy that I would remember.
Okay, right. I'm not gonna get bullied here. All
right. Well, that's it for the show. I'm going to stop recording. You guys have a great night, and we'll catch you next time. Hayley, we'll hope to have you back.
So weird.
Alrighty. See ya.
See ya.